All right, to Michael Phelps, who added 2 more gold medals last night, bringing his total to 21. That's a record total. His victory in the 200-meter butterfly was especially sweet, with his defeat of longtime rival Chad Leclos, hilariously immortalized across the internet. But here's what our very own Jason Whitlock said about Phelps this week.
I respect what Michael Phelps has accomplished, but we have to keep in mind the sport in which he competes in. It's swimming. Man was built for land, and you can't turn Aquaman into Superman. Half of America doesn't swim. Everybody runs. Michael Phelps has mastered a nice little niche, mostly set aside for the elite.
All right, after last night, are you still somehow not impressed with Michael Phelps?
Well, first of all, I want to be clear. I was impressed. I wasn't impressed enough. And Colin, I pride myself on being fair at all times. I pride myself most being on racially fair. I have to admit, I struggled in that moment and have been struggling with track and field used to be the premier sport of the Olympics. Black athletes dominated the premier events in track and field, the 100, the 200, the long jump, all that other stuff. And so I think I let my bias that track and field is kind of put on the back burner in America, and I underestimated what this guy was doing in swimming because I'm used to seeing track athletes. And so I think I let my bias affect me on how I perceive Michael Phelps, and I regret it. Last night was incredible. This guy stared down his rival and took him out, finger wagged him, and told beat his chest. I am the man, 21 gold medals. I sound stupid.
Well, not your argument, you had conviction. I never have a problem with convicted people and with conviction. Convicted people can be trouble, but you had great conviction. Well, I thought the mistake was you said it's a niche sport. Now, first of all, it is. But here's what I would argue. You can be niche and amazing. You ever see the greatest documentary I've ever seen, Man on Wire?
Absolutely. Man on a Wire, yeah.
Best documentary I've ever seen, between the
I've seen it, yeah, it's all
towers in New York. Not a lot of people do that.
No.
It's remarkable. He literally went to the top of the Twin Towers, snuck up, and tight-roped across them on a windy day in New York. Just because very few people do something, if you dominate it at his level, for the record, he's ranked among the top 3 swimmers in 7 different events. That is so historic, so hard to explain. Even Usain Bolt doesn't do the 800, the mile, and the 100.
Colin, I was dead wrong. I'm a bit embarrassed. Last night, when all this was going on, people were tweeting at me. I'm doing research on swimming because I literally thought, I bet you swimming wasn't a big deal to the 1920s, 1930s. Competitive swimming goes all the way back to the early 1800s. It was one of the first events in the Olympics. Women started swimming in the Olympics, I think, in 1904 and 1906. It has a long history.
But overshadowed for a long time by track and field.
And so, again, I think some people are reluctant to admit that sometimes their bias plays a role in how they perceive things. Because, again, I've never shied away from the fact I love Tiger Woods because he's a black dude or a black or brown dude that was dominant in a predominantly white sport. I've never had any shame about admitting that. Sometimes we put white people in a spot where, like, they couldn't root for Larry Bird because he was dominant in a sport dominated by black people. I let my bias change my perspective and not fully appreciate the greatness of Michael Phelps. And last night I felt silly and stupid. People were tweeting at me. I'm doing all this research. Michael Phelps is awesome. I love the guy. I hope he comes back in the next Olympics.
I have an anti-curling bias someday. I swear to you.